Welcome inside the SJHL studios here at IKS Media. It is time for the 2026 SJHL Draft presented by our good friends at UPL. After another exciting and successful season on the ice across the prairies, which saw the Flin Flon Bombers end their 30-plus year championship drought, being named Cantera Seeds Cup champions, and once again representing our league very well at the Centennial Cup. But now we look ahead to the future stars of the league. Teams have done their scouting, scouts have filed their reports, and players have put themselves into positions to become the next wave of talent in the SJHL. Back in 2022, a player named Leo Seitz was a first-round pick by the Flin Flon Bombers, and he just hoisted the Cantera Seeds Cup trophy several weeks ago. So who will be the next champions drafted today? We'll find out in just a few moments as we bring in our SJHL Draft expert, our draft guru, so to speak, Jamie Neugebauer. Jamie, thanks for joining me today. It's always a fun time of year, isn't it?
I love any kind of draft. I love the SJHL. I love the future of the SJHL. This is going to be a lot of fun, Clark, as always.
It is going to be a lot of fun. And a lot of people, you know, the SJHL Draft is pretty unique, Nugsy. It has been for the last, I don't know, what is it, 4 or 5 years now, since that COVID year where we took the draft year off. So we've been doing 2 draft years each and every year since then. So let's check out the draft format, Nugsy. I'll let you take it away to describe kind of what goes down today. Yeah,
so it is 2 different draft years. So there's kind of 2 separate drafts if you want to look at it that way. And we started that after COVID. You have to be from Saskatchewan. You have to be from outside the 12 SJHL markets, aka not already auto-protected. Teams pick 2 players. They could pick 3. That's a complicated thing to explain, but you could pick 2 players coming up to this draft. About a week ago, they sent them into the commissioner from your area, either from your residence town or from the area around it to be auto-protected 2011s. And so therefore those guys won't be picked. Undrafted, of course, by any team previously. And then, as you can see there, they'll be from the U18 League, the AA League, the U15 League AA, the U16 AA, as well as the CSSHL. And we should see kids from a wide variety of places being picked today as well. So different format maybe from you're used to from the Western League draft, where they only pick bantam-age kids, 14-year-olds, and of course the NHL, you know, where you can take whatever you want. So, you know, it's a specific format to our league.
Yeah, for sure. And the best part about today is we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So please send in your comments throughout the day, because Nugsy, we already have a couple of former draft picks themselves, I believe, in the YouTube comments. We see Tice Penrod and Rylan Huey checking in, saying hello on
former
YouTube.
Teammates, the Humble Broncos, giving her, of course, congratulations to Rylan and the Brooks Bandits on their BCHL championship.
Yeah, you'll have to see it. So good job, and thanks for checking in, guys, and tuning in and commenting in on Facebook as well. Make sure you hit the like and hit the share button on all the platforms today, but especially on Facebook as we go live there. We see Austin Cardell checking in on Facebook. Of course, Austin's checking in. I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
The great wheels.
Last year, I remember we were just talking about this before the show. Jax Bubnick, who's eligible to be drafted this year, was watching last year in school. He was checking in school. Maybe Jax is watching again today. I'm not sure. But make sure you check in. Say hello to us. We'll check in with the comments throughout the show today. But again, make sure you hit that like and share button as well. Okay, Nugsy, there are auto-protect rules. You mentioned that in the format graphic there. Can you go over maybe a couple names that are auto-protected as of today?
Yeah, sure. Let me just get that up. You can go to sjhl.ca. By the way, it is there under teams announce auto-protect. So, you know, for example, for Estevan, Jet Kersey, Addison Wanner, of course, the Wanner family is one that's
the Kersey family too.
Moose Jaw Warriors alumni there, of course. Really good defenseman there, Max. Jesse Scriven for Warman. His brother Ethan was an SJHLer as well. And Reg Hubner, Van Hubner, we saw him play for Weyburn. Weyburn has also auto-protected Reg Hubner, who's they're both big drinks of water. So there you go. A couple names. You can go to sjhl.ca and find them right now.
Yeah, for sure. And congrats to everybody who was auto-protected, of course. They won't be drafted today. They're already selected, hypothetically. But teams will now draft everybody else from those remaining pools. We're going to start the 2011 portion of our draft right away here. There are 2 rounds of 2011s that will be happening, and as Nugsy mentioned, and then 6 rounds of 2010s. Let's have a look at last year's recap from 2010s. You won't hear these names today because they were picked last year as the 2010s. Cameron Abig, of course, was the #1 overall pick by the Warman Wolverines. Logan Wilm is a name a lot of people might recognize, of course, of the Wilm hockey family. And then the second round, a couple of names as well that you might recognize. Kai Lanigan is one. Cash Lanigan's younger brother was drafted by Yorkton. And Ethan Jansen, I believe, is also related to Jack Jansen, and he was selected by the Nipawin Hawks. So there's a couple familiar names there. So these names that you just saw won't be selected in the 2010 portion. Again, we're going to start with the 2011s just in a minute.
Can I make a quick shout out?
Of course, yeah.
Shout out to Dennis Lupandon. First, if we could get the first round of that draft back up there really quick. Dennis Lupandon there, you see the draft pick of the Nipawin Hawks.
There,
just represented Ukraine at just a bunch of months ago. Team Ukraine at the U18 Division 1A World Hockey Championships. So congratulations to Dennis and his family. And our good buddy, of course, Ty Skeen, former SJHL official, maybe current as well. Hopefully, they give him some games too. Busy at other levels too. But he officialed at that tournament too, so there's a little story for you.
Very cool. The general draft order, this is how, for the most part, of course, there's always trades involved with draft day, but this will be the general order that you will see today. LaRange will have the #1 overall selection in both years. Warman will have #2, and then as you can see, the following. It's just the reverse standings from last season. Flin Flon will select last. Again, trades happen. So with that in mind, with trades happening, let's see how many picks each team has going into the draft this year. As you can see, LaRange has 9. Most teams will have around 8 because 8 is the number they come in with, but teams have made trades. As you can see, Weyburn has picked up a few extra ones this year. They have 11. So for the most part, around 8, but Weyburn, they loaded up this year. They like this draft year, apparently, Cody Mapes and company. So they've loaded up with 11 picks this year. So that's what we're going to look for. Nugsy, maybe a couple of names that we can watch for as we're about to kick off the 2011 portion. I know that the teams in the war room, actually, let's just have a look at the war room there. This is how the back end is working here at the SJHL Draft. As you can see, Kyle McIntyre there in the back there. Curtis Stepp and Helen Stepp are handling a lot of the online web portion of this, so that what you'll see on the website. Our Director of Marketing and Partnerships, Nick Shimlansky, is there, of course. Kelly Lewick, our Graphics Director, he'll be working on some stuff. And not seen in this video, but very, very present is Connor Tate, of course, our #1 man when it comes to online content creation. What a dude that guy is. Nugsy, a couple names to watch as we get this going here.
Yeah, we'll do it quick because the picks have already coming flying in.
Picks are started.
3 2011 names that I'm looking for. Big defenseman, Bridger Unchalenko out of the Sask East Oilers, 6'4" already as a 2011, out of Esterhazy, so he's one to watch. Caleb Philp, extremely talented kid going to the PA Mintos, Swift Current Broncos second rounder, really talented, 73 points in 27 games this past year. And then Wilson Blocka, who's by many accounts the best 2011 goalie in the province, had a great year for the Saskatoon Bandits U15. Quickly for the 2010s, Cash Borowski, the Saskatoon River Kings goaltender. We always talk about the importance of the Saskatoon River Kings in this draft. Dylan Coulter-Suddy, forward for the Saskatoon Contacts, also a third-round pick of the Kamloops Blazers, high hockey IQ, really big year as well, this past year. And then Braden Nowoselski, Moose Jaw, AAA, Saskatoon Blades, second rounder. Again, one theme, Nowoselski, and many others, a lot of smaller, skilled defensemen in this year's draft. So I think that's something we talked about. We wanted to see a bit more, power play quarterback, skilled offensive defenseman types in the SJHL. I think this draft is going to provide a lot
for that. Well, before we announce the first pick, a reminder to players: if you hear your name called today, congratulations. And obviously, we want you to celebrate accordingly, but the work does not end here. It's just getting started. The SJHL has shown that it's one of the most competitive leagues in this country, and roster spots are harder and harder to lock down each and every year. So get to work. If you don't hear your name called today, the door is not closed for you. Show everyone what they missed out on. Get to work, and your talent will be showcased eventually. Before we commence the picks, we have a special message to kick things off from Commissioner of the SJHL, Kyle McIntyre. Kyle, take it away.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2026 SJHL Draft, sponsored by UPL. An exciting day here in the SJHL. We'll be adding many new Saskatchewan players to our Saskatchewan teams in the age groups of 2011 and 2010. Best of luck to our prospects, and please enjoy our broadcast.
All right, and with that, let's open up the draft now as the 2011 portion of the draft is underway. The LaRange Ice Wolves are on the clock, and the pick is in. Nugsy, the first pick of the 2011 portion of the 2026 SJHL Draft. Casey Turberfield of Meadow Lake.
Yeah.
Casey Turberfield.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to his soon-to-be coach about him yesterday or 2 days ago, Marty Smith with the Battleford Stars. Meadow Lake, 5th-round pick of the Portland Winterhawks. The question that he had, that I have, that some people have about Casey is whether he'll be an SJHLer because he's that good. He could be a Western Leaguer before too long. 21 goals in 36 games this past year for the Northwest Stars, which is a great program, U15, and they play at the ACC up there in Battleford. So a Meadow Lake kid, and congratulations to him and his family.
The second year of the Warman Wolverines drafting process begins now as they have the second overall pick, and they have selected Caleb Philp of Shellbrook, Nugsy.
Yeah. He's a kid that I had to watch, of course. PA Mintos is where he's heading, no longer the domain, of course, of Dion Antison as well. But, Caleb, again, really, really skilled, dynamic offensive forward, pretty physically mature as well. 6'1", 185 pounds, but mentioned him as one of my players to watch, in fact. So one of the Nugsy's players to watch is off the board, 73 points in 27 games, 45 of them assists. So this kid can pass. Swift Current Broncos second rounder.
Picks are flying in here, Nugsy, but I'm just going to take a minute because I think there might be some stuff going on with the third overall selection that Larange has been made. They're on the clock right now for the third overall that we're about to announce. The name just is escaping us at the moment. So let's take a look at some comments, I guess, while we're waiting. Let's see. This is Braden? Once again, skipping school for this. Love that. Skip school. That's what we want. For sure. Make sure you stay in school, though, kids.
Don't be a fool.
Robin Wildy is saying, good afternoon, everyone. How's it going, Robin? Good to see ya. Chinook Hockey says, Weyburn loaded up, and that's not a bad thing at all. No, it sounds like this is going to be a pretty strong draft year. B1 Hockey's checking in, of course. Future is Maroon. Love to see B1 Hockey checking in, one of our big fans throughout the season. Robbie Harrison says, let's go Larange Ice Wolves. Sure will be a great team. There's a lot to look forward to in Larange. I would have to say some new staff members, a new direction. We'll see how that all goes up in Larange. Over on Facebook, let's see, Curtis Potter saying, love it. Other leagues in the CJHL need to take note of the social media presentation. Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate that. Kevin Radloff checking in, of course. Finley Radloff's dad, Kevin. He says, keep doing it right, Hawks. Chelsea Gladue is checking in, saying, hey guys. Ethan Muskwa saying, let's go. So a lot of people checking in. Make sure you keep commenting, hit the like button, hit the share button, and we'll keep going. Now, Nugsy, I'm not sure.
They're into the second round already.
They're into the second round. So let's just keep rolling. We'll go with the fourth overall selection.
Yeah, sure.
We'll figure out this third overall selections. Is it on the website? It is on the website. Do you want to go with what they have on the website?
Well,
let's go with it. The Larange Ice Wolves have selected Lachlan Vandal from Prince Albert. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Lachlan Vandal.
Yeah, well, he was a kid that I wondered if they would take first overall, actually. High energy. Prince George Cougars, 5th rounder. So again, he's a PA boy in Prince George, and BC took him way up there. So chance that maybe he wants to be a little closer to home. He does kind of everything you want. He was the captain of his Prince Albert Pirates U15 team as well.
Yep.
Leadership, block shots, goes to the dirty areas to score goals. He's going to be a Prince Albert Minto. He's going to play at home for whomever that they hire to be their head coach in Prince Albert to replace Dion Antison there. But hey, he's a guy that I thought maybe would be first overall, but he goes third overall.
There you go. And same team got him either way.
Well, there you go.
Same team got him. All right, the fourth overall pick. The Humboldt Broncos have selected Jet Kennedy out of Saskatoon. Jet Kennedy, Nugsy.
Yeah, D-man, one of those skilled D-man. We talked about how I thought there's going to be a lot of offensive kind of guys from the back end. Obviously, Saskatoon kid, not too far away. The Saskatoon Generals, U15, 37 points in 27 games as a defenseman. So, again, he's got some confidence to him.
The fifth overall selection goes to the Estevan Bruins. We'll hear from their head coach and general manager, Drew Kocur, in just a few moments. Landon Andrusiak out of White City, Nugsy.
Yeah, for sure. So I was trying to ask around whether he was related to Nick Andrusiak, and I wasn't able to find that information. So if someone out there wants to let me know, that would be awesome. But the Prairie Storm U15 has been a great program the last little while. Forward, again, not very big, but he's got time to grow. And guess, he's going to the Estevan Bears. So it makes sense that he's going to be in their backyard. Can call him up, 53 points in 26 games, 32 of them assists, and won the Bantam Championship a couple years ago.
There you go. The Melville Millionaires now make their first selection of the day. The sixth overall pick to the Millionaires is Josh Kohler out of Saskatoon.
Yeah, Josh Kohler, Saskatoon contacts as well. Again, the smaller forward, but again, put up some points. Doug Johnson lately has made an effort to try to get some of those skilled guys in the pipeline. Because obviously they got those beasts that they have up there to play physical and play forechecking hockey. Get a little bit of skill, sprinkle it in, and Josh is one of those guys.
A lot of people say draft skill, fine size everywhere else. All right, the Melfort Mustangs, of course, back-to-back champions not that long ago. They're up now on the clock at the 7th overall selection with Oakley Reed out of Porcupine Plain. Porcupine Plain is on the map.
Yeah, so Wes Rudy there in Tisdale just keeps stockpiling talent, and would be surprised if the Tisdale Trojans have a terrific season, and he had a terrific season on the back end, one of those skilled offensive back end defensemen. I'm going to say it a bunch. He played a couple games for the Trojans, in fact, the 2011, 5'9", 140-ish, so he'll grow. But again, really good year for the Northeast Wolfpack.
The Weyburn Red Wings, who do hold the most draft picks as of right now, are on the clock with the 8th overall selection, and they have selected Colby McColl out of Redverse. I used to live in Redverse, fun fact. But Colby McColl with the 8th overall pick to Weyburn.
Yeah, just give me 1 second here. Having some technical
I lived in Redverse, for those who are wondering, because I'm sure everyone is wondering, when I was 2 and 3 years old back in 93 and 94.
There you go. So, Estevan Bears, U15 AA kid, so from not down the way, kind of half point per game. Guess what? Right shot defenseman. A little bit of a bigger kid as well there from Redverse. So, Cody Mapes does like size. He's trying to get some more maybe on the back end. He wasn't the biggest, but they had big hearts. They weren't the biggest on the back end. So he's a kid that's already projecting to be, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and again, right shot can't hurt either.
Of course, Weyburn was in the news about a week ago or a few days ago, trading Simon Martin out of town as part of the Ryland Pierce future considerations. So maybe some shifting on the back end going forward from there, of course. The Nipawin Hawks are on the board for the number 9 overall selection, and this name might sound familiar to some here in Regina. Roman Shinkarik from Regina has been selected by the Nipawin Hawks.
Yeah, this is a kid that's got some sandpaper to him. He plays with some grit. Forward, he was going to go to the Pat C's as well, and he plays a bit of a heavier, in-your-face game, and as skilled as the Nipawin Hawks were last year, I think they, over the years under Tad Kozin, they've been trying to add a bit more, a little bit of grit, a little bit of blue paint warrior, and that's what Shinkarik is.
Well, if he plays anything like his dad does in senior men's Monday nooner hockey, he's going to be a good player. The Battleford's North Stars, 10th overall, have selected Lincoln Alger East. That's a familiar name we might have known from other years in the past, out of Meadow Lake, Nugsy, to the North Stars.
Cash, obviously, his brother's in the Western League, but was called up and very effective for Weyburn last year when he was called up. He's going to play for Marty Smith nearby in the Battleford's AAA. Stars had a really, really big year last year. Really loves the puck on his stick. Again, another skilled defenseman, but plays with an edge too, and he's really complete. Like, I don't think he's a really far away kid from being an SJHLer, and I really like this pick, and he's going to get some good coaching from Marty there in Belfast.
Love that. The Yorkton Terriers, of course, the runner-ups in this year's SJHL Finals, are on the clock at the number 11 spot, and they've selected Nash Tomchuk out of Regina, Nugsy.
Yeah, so this is a kid that a lot of people had eyes on. A little bit undersized, but he works extremely hard, and obviously they drafted Cash Lanigan, they drafted Kai Lanigan, Patsy's kids that have skill, that play really hard, that play bigger than their bodies, and that is Nash Tomchuk as well, and he got great experience last year playing as a call-up for the Regina Patsy's, and again he's going to get a great education from Coach Hodgins and playing on a team in the Patsy's that expect to win every game.
The Flin Flon Bombers, of course, the champions of this year's season, are on the clock at the number 12 selection. This name might sound familiar to Bombers fans, as well as some fans around the league from years gone by. Bennett Bame of Saskatoon has been selected by the Bombers, Nugsy.
Yeah, and drafted by the defending Western League champion Everett Silvertips as well. I spoke to John Clausen, shout out to John Clausen, the Flin Flon scouting director, about a lot of guys actually. He's really helpful, really appreciated John. And
John's a beauty.
He was hugely high on Bennett Bame. Bame is going to go back to the Saskatoon Blazers, but he's got good size already at 6 foot at 180. D-man, really, really, really smart kid as well. And, I think the Everett Silvertips are going to take a good close look at him too. But this is a kid that you kind of stash. And I like to talk about guys taking a swing, like hoping that you can build a relationship and a guy gives your, franchise a chance, even if I'm sure the Everett Silvertips are going to have a close eye on too.
For sure. But like I said, can't teach genetics.
No.
This kid's got genetics. The family has long bloodlines in Saskatchewan hockey, for sure. All right, we're on to the second round. That went fast. Second round is underway, so let's keep going. The first overall selection, a.k.a. the 13th overall selection in the draft, the second round, goes to the L'Orange Ice Wolves, and it is Maguire Hendry out of Nokomis.
Yeah.
Great brewery there.
Yeah. And you know, if the rules were mixed and a kid could be auto-protected as many, you could auto-protect as many as you want, the Broncos would certainly have auto-protected this kid.
Yeah.
Humboldt Broncos keep U15s, keep pumping out talent. Obviously, Dane Boyker just signed with the Lethbridge Hurricanes.
Big news
another
there.
one out of that program. The list goes on, Beckett, Hamilton, etc. But Maguire's going to the Waterman Wildcats, but boy, did this kid dominate as another skilled D-man. You know, more than a point per game as a D-man for the Humboldt Broncos and Bantams. And boy, are they pumping out kids, the Humboldt Broncos U15 AA.
For sure. Good program there.
Yeah.
The Warman Wolverines. Now, Nugsy, this is going to be a test. This one's a test. The Warman Wolverines with the 14th overall pick, Bridger Unchelenko out of Esterhazy.
Well,
shout out to Bridger.
Yeah, he was another kid that I had to watch.
Yeah.
They had a really nice year with the Sask East Oilers U15s, 6'4", 209 pounds. Moose Jaw, you know, 6th round draft pick as well. He's going to the Yorkton Maulers, you know, again, not too far from the Sask East Oilers, so it makes sense. But almost a point per game, you know, in U15 at that size as a D-man. Keep talking about D-man who can put up points.
Yeah.
Again, he's also a monster. So Brett Pilkington might not wait too long before trying to bring this kid in.
Fair enough. Okay, the 15th overall selection. Now, Nugsy, this name and this hometown mean, we talked about good genetics with the Boehm family.
Yeah.
Also good genetics here. The Kindersley Clippers have selected Landon Reshney out of Macklin. Of course, very good family, hockey family here in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, of course, and you know Cole having had a great performance at the World Juniors, and obviously it's a terrific family. The middle one was also a Nipawin Hawks prospect.
Anderson,
too.
I believe,
so
right?
Anderson, yeah. So you know, he's another talented kid out of that family. This one's you know, a little bit smaller, but you know, again, they're only 14. But again, really
Be
talented.
bigger when you're 14.
Keep the family in. Don't mind it. Don't mind it.
Absolutely. Good family, good pick, I'd say. The 16th overall pick, second round, 4th overall in the second round, the Humboldt Broncos have selected Cade Dovin out of Bruno, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, obviously that's not too far from Humboldt. Played for the Humboldt Broncos U15s. Talk about them pumping him out. Be interesting to talk to Braden Klamosko. Be like, were you hoping to get Cade?
Did you watch a couple of games this year, Klamosko?
Yeah, might have seen him maybe in person. Again, an undersized kid, but he'll grow around 5'6".
Yeah.
But 57 points in 27 games, 31 of them goals. Played for the Warman Wildcats AAA as well a little bit last year too. Again, he's electric. Another one out of the Humboldt Broncos U15s.
From Bruno.
Of course, they won the championship with Boyker and Hamilton and whatever, and they keep being a dynamic offensive team.
Yeah, from Bruno. And just going to show, we will talk about Bruno. Now, that is a kids' movie reference that you and I only might... Do you even understand that one? Oh, man, Encanto?
Bruno.
Thank you. Somebody got it. We don't talk about Bruno as a song in a Disney movie. Okay, the Estevan Bruins with the 17th overall selection, Jager Coral out of Regina, Nugsy.
Yeah, there's another guy that was really popular, and if the guys in my ear would stop talking to me, that would be...
No, you're going to sing me a song.
Steven Turner driving me... No, I'm just kidding. 7th round pick of the Prince George Cougars, Bantam champion a couple of years ago with the Prairie Storm. Again, talk about him, 5'7", 130-pound forward, but this kid puts up numbers. You know, Team Saskatchewan, WHL Cup are very interested in him as well. Again, so it's a stash, but not too far away, and he's got lots of skill, so it should be fun.
That. All right, well, we're moving on. The Weyburn Red Wings, another pick in under their belt here as they have selected Jax Bowmueller out of Wilcox. Nugs, I know you're familiar with this family, I believe.
Yeah, of course. And you know, Bob, their dad, Jackson Joby's dad, raised them the right way. Great kids. Obviously, Joby with a 40-goal season in the Western League last year.
Pretty good
not
player.
bad. A lot of people rated Joby as the best shot in the Western League last year with Brandon. You know, Jax is the same player. Like, he's the same player. High-end shot, high-end release. You know, goes hard, gets the puck. You know, was called up for a game with the AAA Hounds a year ago. But anyways, if he's anything like his big brother, then you know, that's a great pick. And certainly, you know, Cody knows the family, pay attention closely to Jax, and just down the road, and Wilcox is not a bad idea as well, because Jax has already committed to the AAA Hounds because his dad is the gym teacher there.
There you go. You can't auto-protect Wilcox anymore, Hounds.
Yeah, I don't know what school that is, but...
There you go. Gull Lake, Saskatchewan. Stand up. You're on the clock here, as Carter Blow has been selected by the Melfort Mustangs with the 19th overall selection.
Yeah, and very interesting. We always talk about those relationships. Who's the director of player personnel for the Regina Pats? Of course, it's Tristan Fry. Who is a highly thought of Regina Pats prospect? It's Carter Blow. Who does Tristan Fry have a good relationship with? It's Trevor Blevins. We'll keep it all together. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Regina Pats sees, even though he's from down in the bottom, left corner of the province there in Gull Lake, but still, again, super talented defenseman, huge offensive upside. The Pats are really high on him. Dale Durkach and his crew are really, really high on him too. But if he can get in with Trevor Blevins and get a couple games, that Tristan Fry will have his stamp of approval for Carter Blow to play in Melfort as well. Yeah,
we've had the comments. I'm just checking in on the comments here. A ton of comments coming in on YouTube. Stephen Turner in our back even got a shout out for being an Eston Ramblers legend. Is that the same Stephen Turner we're talking about? I'm not sure. You've never heard of Eston. Well, it's not this Stephen Turner, different Stephen Turner. Shout out to the other Stephen Turner, though. He must be a great dude. Shout out to that guy. Also on Facebook, my dad's checking in. Always love hearing from my dad. He says, great show, boys, informative. Andrea Miskew's checking in. My son plays for Flin Flon. Looking forward to hear who we pick. Jared Miskew, of course. Yeah. Shout out to the Miskew family. A whole bunch of other stuff. So keep commenting in. Keep commenting. We want to hear from you. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Comment in. We have 450 plus people watching on YouTube right now live. We have over 120 on Facebook right now watching live. Twitter's also live. So please make sure you hit all the share buttons and engage with us. We want to keep hearing from you guys. Always love that part of the draft. Okay, keep moving on. The Waving Red Wings, another pick. The 20th overall pick in the 2011 portion is Cohen Munroe out of Regina.
Yeah, covering his bases, Cody. I wondered how many goalies would be picked, and I don't think the number is going to be super high for this whole draft, really. But Cohen is one of them. Obviously, Cody, a lot of ties to Regina minor hockey. Cohen Munroe, 8-6-1 this past year, 903 save percentage of 324 goals against for the Regina Pat Blues. But that means he got some pretty good playing time, and that's always the thing you're looking for goalies. He'll grow, but he, again, down the road, available to Cody. And again, like to see those goalies get picked, because goalies are people too, Clark.
I was just checking my phone here, Nugsy. There might be a trade in the works. The guys in the back are working on it. We'll let you know when and if that happens. Of course, there was a huge trade just the other day. The Nipawin Hawks traded, who are we talking? Connor Watson and Justice Cutler, and a second-round pick in today's 2010 draft to the Kindersley Clippers for Brock Evans. And the third overall selection in the 2010 portion of the draft.
Big one.
So that was a huge trade. A couple major impact 20-year-olds swapping places and some picks as well. So we'll get to that in a little bit as well. The 21st overall selection, speaking of the Nipawin Hawks, Luke Tran of Prince Albert, Nugsy.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense. Down the road there, Prince Albert Pirates, totally dominant, already good size for him. Kelowna 4th-round pick, so I talk about a swing again. Is this kid a Western Leaguer? Is he an SJHL kid? Maybe down the road. It's a good stash, but again, the maturity is there, 35 points in 22 games as a defenseman for the Prince Albert Pirates. Again, very, very talented offensive producing defenseman, and a kid that, again, is just down the road in Prince Albert from Nipawin. So
there you go. The Melville Millionaires back on the clock. They acquired this pick from Battlefords at some point. But Jackson Bray of White City is now a member of the Melville Millionaires prospect pool.
Yeah, and it's a thing too where again, Doug's trying to fill the pockets, and what are they looking for now? What are we having in this draft? Offensive defensemen so far. 20 points, 25 games for the Prairie Storm. They're pumping out kids. I've said their names a whole bunch already. White City, Saskatchewan is not too far away from Melville, just down the highway there. So again, you could pick them up and call them in, and it's not a big problem. Going to the Yorkton Maulers as well, so right down the street from Melville.
There you go. 2 picks left in the 2011 portion. The Yorkton Terriers are on the clock. Now they have Cash Lanigan. They have Kai Lanigan. So they said, we like the word Lanigan. So they picked a kid from Lanigan, Sam Brenner, out of Lanigan.
I'm like, I don't think there's another Lanigan.
No, there's not another one. I don't think so.
Well, another Humboldt Broncos kid, like the Prince Albert Raiders are really, really high on this kid as well. 67 points in 27 games. You know, for him, 39 of them assists for the Humboldt Broncos U15s. To talk about the job they're pumping out talent there in Humboldt. But 39 assists, you know, again, this kid can pick a pass and he's really, really confident. So again, it's a situation where they're just stockpiling and if a guy can end up with you, then pretty good.
Over on YouTube, Nugsy, some pretty high praise here. You mentioned Munroe a few picks back. Chinook Hockey 44 on YouTube says, Munroe is this generation's version of Taran Kozin. So that's pretty high praise if you ask me. So it could be a really good pick there if that pans out anywhere close to that. So shout out to Munroe there and Chinook Hockey for filling us in. Okay, last selection in the 2011 portion, the 24th overall pick goes to Humboldt via trade from Flin Flon. They have selected Braden Thomas out of Saskatoon. Congrats, Braden. He's our last pick of the 2011 portion.
Yeah, Saskatoon Screaming Eagles kid, another offensive defenseman, right shot. Point per game and U15 for the Saskatoon Bandits as well. So he played between the Screaming Eagles and the Bandits. And again, not too far down the road. I got to mention as well, I got a message from Doug Johnson about the Bray kid, Jackson Bray, that we just drafted. His grandfather is the marketing guy for the Melville Millionaires, was an assistant coach for the Millionaires for years, is an alumni. So love to see the people keeping the people in the family as well. So just down the street in White City, as I said, and going to be in Yorkton and now obviously keep it in the family.
Well, congratulations now to all of the 2011 names that were just announced. Do we have the recap graphics of those guys? Maybe, yes. Here we go. Round one. Here we're looking at round one here. Casey Turberfield, the first overall selection, as you can see, out of Meadow Lake to the Larange Ice Wolves. As you can see all the way down. We'll post these graphics online as well, but shout out to Casey Turberfield for being this year's first overall selection in the 2011 portion. Round two, as you can see, we just finished it up. If we have it, I'm not sure if we have it yet, but there he is. As you can see, we just mentioned all these guys, and congratulations to everyone selected in the 2011 portion. Again, there will be 6 more rounds of the 2011s next year, unless something changes, but as of right now, that'll be what it is. So that's what we're looking at right now. Congrats to all the 2011s drafted today. The 2010 portion is underway. However, we want to take a quick commercial break, but before we do that, we got to hear from Estevan Bruins head coach and general manager, Drew Kocur. Drew? All right, welcome inside with Estevan Bruins head coach and general manager Drew Kocur. Drew, appreciate you joining us today. Obviously, it's a fun time of year with a lot of hope for the future here. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go, but let's start with a little bit of reflection on your first full year as head coach and GM in Estevan. Now that you've had some time to kind of decompress from the playoffs, how can you look back now and talk about last season?
Yeah, I mean, for myself, it was a, pretty solid year overall, and, obviously the group, and took some strides, collectively as a group, and, we felt we had a pretty solid year, and, we obviously had a little bit of a, bump on the road there, obviously in January, February with the losing streak, but I think as a group and as a staff, we grew it together, and, found ourselves back in the playoffs, and, that was really for us to make the playoffs, and for a lot of the young guys to just experience playoff hockey for, a lot of them were 17, 18, and, now have the opportunity to come back. I think it's important for them to have that taste of playoff hockey for sure.
Yeah, I know, Drew, over the years, and you've been plugged into the SJHL and paid attention for sure to the Estevan Bruins, and they so often have so many great Saskatchewan born and bred players in that organization, and it seems like you got some great young ones coming through right now as well. Obviously got to mention Rylan Williams moving on too, speaking of great Saskatchewan players that played for the Bruins, but just talk about maybe generally what you're looking for in this draft in terms of the identity that you're trying to fortify within the Estevan Bruins club and the roster.
Yeah, I mean, talking with the scouts and our staff, and obviously looking to always add pieces for the future, of course. And for our group, we want to add speed, want to add skill, add some size would be great. Like the league definitely played hard, so we want to add some guys, have some obviously some blue collar guys, and Yeah, I mean, we're excited for for draft day and trying to see where, obviously when we're dealing with our picks, kind of what we want and how we're gonna utilize them down the road. And yeah, I mean, for us, having Saskatchewan grown talents is important to us, and trying to have as many Sask guys as we can. You mentioned Rylan Williams, and there's a lot of great players in our league. Just to name a few. There's Rylan Williams, there's Joey Lees and Jai Zawatsky. Then they've all had great careers, and now we're pretty fortunate enough to have Gunnar Moore come through the pipeline, rip it up in AAA, and obviously be a draft pick. He was drafted, I think, an hour after I was announced as assistant coach 4 years ago. So
obviously you mentioned the 4 years ago assistant coach coming in. You've been around the Bruins now in different roles, but last year at this time, again, I can't remember the exact timeline on it, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the interim tag was coming off. You got the general manager role. So now that you've had a whole year with that under your belt, I'm assuming this draft you feel a whole lot different going into it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously we have great scouts within the Bruins, obviously, and they watch a lot of hockey, and they know a lot of the players. They watch a lot of AAA. They watch a lot of Bantams. So, we had our pre-draft meeting about a week ago now, I guess, and kind of hammering it out and trying to see what we want, what are our needs, and kind of what we want to see in the future of the Estevan Bruins. And we're pretty excited. And obviously I the 2011s and the Bantams, so I coached the Brick team, the 2011 Brick team. So, knowing those players now coming through, now getting drafted it's kind of cool to see. Obviously, we coached them when they're 10, and now they're 13, 14, and now they're getting ready to be drafted. So, yeah, definitely have more of an idea of kind of who the players are and what we need.
For sure. Last one from me, Drew. Really appreciate your time. Some of my favorite people around the league, Drew, and I'm sure you would agree, are those head scouts, those people that have their fingers on the pulse, all year long. Obviously, Todd Ripplinger has done a wonderful, wonderful job for the Bruins.
Don't inflate his head too much.
Oh, hey, the man does a great job, and obviously you got to pay attention to who's around you. Obviously I'm thinking about Onright, and you talked about Gunnar Moore and the talent that's coming through the Estevan Bears and the kind of the area. Obviously the Davis brothers we think about recently too. But just talk about the importance of a guy like Todd Ripplinger and the importance of his staff, of people being eyes in the sky, bird dogs wherever they are, to help a team actually win, because that's so important. We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, like Ripper, he's awesome. He's been doing it for so long, longer than I've been alive. He's a great guy to communicate with, talk about players with. Obviously he's been doing this so long, and then obviously Dustin Walash, our director of player personnel, does a great job with not only our spring camps and and obviously fall camp, but just identifying players. Having Dusty and Todd work that close with myself and our staff, just to pick their brains every day, and obviously throughout the year, and obviously the spring and prior to drafts. And yeah, like they are so well in tune with all the Bantams and the U18 players that it really makes my job easy. And when we announce those players at draft day, it's pretty exciting. But they've been watching them for 5 years already, and obviously they've been scouting for so many years. So it's definitely very valuable for sure.
For sure. Well, Drew, I know it's a busy time of year, so we're going to let you get back to it. But appreciate you joining us here today, and good luck the rest of the draft.
The Price Beat Guarantee is back at Capital GMC in Regina. We will beat any price on any new vehicle from any competitor, or you get $500 cash guaranteed. The Price Beat Guarantee at Capital GMC in Regina.
At Vatterstad, we're partnering with North American farmers to create the perfect emergence. We're doing this with new and innovative tillage, planting, and seeding solutions, optimized for the field conditions that you face, and with industry-leading capacities to help you get the job done in short windows of time, so you can maximize yields. Vatterstad, we look forward to growing together.
mister.
Every ticket you buy funds programs all across Saskatchewan, like sports. Buy your tickets today.
Feeling like your dreams are out of reach? RBC has programs and resources to help you open the door. With RBCX Music, RBC Training Ground, and RBC Scholarships, your idea of your highest potential happens here.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, we're back for the rest now, the second half, or it's more than half, I guess, but the second portion of the 2026 SJHL Draft, which will include our 2010 born draft eligible players. Let's go with that. Okay, with the first overall selection of the 2010 portion of this year's draft, the L'Orange Ice Wolves, back on the clock, thank you, have selected Arlo Barkley out of Warman. Arlo Barkley, Nugsy.
Yeah, look, tough year down in Wilcox with the AAA Hounds there for Casey O'Brien, but Arlo was certainly a bright spot. 25 assists as another point-producing right-shot defenseman. Great year back in Lloydminster as well, the year before that. Again, so really, really highly thought of, highly talented kid that took a year in Wilcox to get back here in Saskatchewan, and he hasn't announced, or I haven't been able to find where he committed for next year. So that'd be interesting to see, if he sticks around in Wilcox or what his plans are. But again, this is a projected top pairing D-man there for L'Orange.
There you go. Well, from hometown of Warman to the team that is in Warman, the Wolverines have selected Duncan Mitchell out of Saskatoon with the second pick in the 2010 draft, Nugsy.
Yeah, and obviously, again, not too far from Warman, Saskatoon Blazers, undersized defenseman, but, Brett Pilkington is a big fan of the Saskatoon River Kings organization where he played last year. We've talked about that a lot. Another skilled, undersized offensive defenseman, great first pass, jumps into the play without any kind of hesitation, doesn't mind the training wheels. In this day and age, teams are so good. That's D-zone structure, locking things down. You need that fourth D to jump right in.
Yep.
And Duncan Mitchell, that's his game to a T, is to be a little bit of a riverboat gambler, but to get in there and be offensive.
There you go. Okay, now a trade, we talked about this trade earlier. The Nipawin Hawks are on the clock with the third overall selection. They acquired this pick along with Brock Evans from the Kindersley Clippers in exchange for Connor Watson, a lot of names being thrown around today. Connor Watson and Justice Cutler, as well as a pick in the second round of this draft that we're about to talk about. So the third pick is Nipawins, and they have selected Parker Gabriel out of Saskatoon, Nugsy.
Yeah, Saskatoon River Kings. And we talked about them moving on from Justice Cutler, 6'3" defenseman.
Yeah.
They just picked another 6'3" defenseman.
Not bad.
Right shot kid. 23 points in 30 games this past year in U18 AA as a 15-year-old defenseman. Point per game kid in the playoffs too, so he got better as the season went on and when the games mattered the most. And again, not too far away down the road in Saskatoon and Nipawin. I can really see them. They're not afraid to use young kids. If you're good enough, you're old enough in Nipawin. And I would be surprised if Gabriel's in the lineup at some point next year.
Would love to see it. It'd be great. The fourth overall selection, this one is, we love to see the family ties. We always talk about the family connections. This one's interesting because the Humboldt Broncos with the fourth overall pick have selected Burke Witter out of Prince Albert. Of course, his older brother Will is currently on Nipawin. So dipping into the pool a little bit there.
Yeah, well, Will showed what he could do as a kind of two-way centerman, reliable both ways and mature beyond his years.
Yeah.
Expectation is similar. Again, he's going back to the Prince Albert Mintos as well, where Will came from as well. 5'10", but growing and growing and growing with the bulk. And he'll get a nice time to play at home. It's always good to play at home for these kids. I like to see it. And again, it's always good when a kid has SJHL ties.
Absolutely. All right, with the fifth overall selection, the Estevan Bruins are on the clock, and they have selected Dylan Coulter-Suddy out of Saskatoon. Shout out to Drew Kocur.
Yeah, this is a kid that I really had my eye on as well, the Kamloops Blazers 3rd round draft pick. Really good skill level, really good offensive instincts. He had a really nice year with the Saskatoon Bandits, as I mentioned. And you know what, again, Estevan is really unafraid to get kids that err on the side of creativity.
Sure.
They want to make the game fun. I know Drew Kocur, again, likes a kid that isn't afraid to try things in the offensive zone, and Kocur is that type of kid.
And he has one of the most creative ways of spelling Dylan I have ever seen.
Dylan, yeah.
There you go. The number 6 overall pick to the Melville Millionaires, it is Logan Dosenberger out of Regina.
Yeah, and they're just getting kids from kind of the area, right? Like not too far away, and kind of keeping an eye on that. But he's Pat C's kid. Ryan Hodgins is gonna, tutelage him pretty well. Again, defenseman, 6'1", 172 pounds already as a 15-year-old. He'll get more and more opportunity as guys move on from the team that won the Saskatchewan League again last year with the Regina Pat C's. So he'll continue to grow in that opportunity. But we've seen lots of that pipeline between the Pat C's and Melville lately.
I've seen a lot of that over the years. A lot of really good Regina-born players playing with the Melville Millionaires over the years. I think back a guy named Tyson Predinchuk, Millionaires fans will remember, Regina kid, very, very talented. Big WHL guy, but came back and he was a force in the SJ. All right, the Orange Ice Wolves with the 7th overall selection in the 2010 draft have selected Calder Harris, staying with Regina. Calder Harris to the Orange Ice Wolves. Formerly pick of the Melfort Mustangs, was traded just about a week ago here.
Yeah, and so this guy had some opportunity with the Pat C's this year, and 8 games, in fact. It was a call-up from the Regina Capitals, where he was a key guy, another offensively creative defenseman, but they love him in Regina as a guy that can really break out, this year coming up. Again, talk about Dosenberger getting an opportunity. Harris is going to get a big opportunity too on the Regina Pat C's back end, and it'll be very interesting to see what they do with that opportunity.
There you go. If you're watching on Facebook, reminder, hit the like button, hit the share button. If you're watching on YouTube, it seems like we got a lot of kids watching from school today. So if you are in school, please make sure you're listening to your teacher. But thank you for tuning in. Either way, we appreciate it. Numbers are big right now, but let's keep them big, and let's make sure you hit that like button, hit that share button, keep those comments rolling in. All right, we continue. Speaking of rolling, the picks are rolling in. We'll go to the Wavering Red Wings. They've made several picks already today. With the 8th overall pick in the 2010 portion of this year's draft, Nolan Jaworski out of Regina.
What do you think we keep talking about? Another kind of small-ish, not too small, but small-ish offensive defenseman. Again, they called up the Pat C's, another Regina kid. It's just a run of kids that are expecting to be key players on the Pat C's next year here in a row to start the 2010 draft. But again, that Regina Vix U18 AA program continues to churn out good 15-year-olds as well. Obviously Colton Bridgman, there played for the Pats. He went straight from the Vix to the Pats. Seemed like a big jump. Went back to the Pat C's and worked it out there. But Jaworski's another one in that vein.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Nipawin back on the clock. They've already made a pick in this portion of the draft, but they got another one at the 9th overall pick, and it's Axton Snow Hayes out of Saskatoon. That's a great name.
Yeah, and again, a huge year in U16. Another kid that's going to the Saskatoon Contacts, offensive kid, 65 points in 33 games this past year, and a kid that, again, continues to grow into his frame. He's 5'11" already, 155 pounds. He's going to keep growing and doesn't mind going to the dirty areas to get points. He's got great offensive instincts. Where have we seen that? Lots of Nipawin Hawks have great offensive instincts, and kind of will fit that package pretty well.
They showed that last year, that's for sure.
Yep.
The Battleford's North Stars, they've dipped into Wadena. That's our first pick out of Wadena today, and they've selected Ryden Johnson out of Wadena. Shout out to Ryden Johnson.
Yeah, shout out another, this is a Humboldt Broncos U18 AA kid, but pretty big year. Played a game for Tisdale as well. Smaller guy, but very, very crafty. Like, I watched him on video. He's fun to watch because he's just very creative and finds ways. And the bigger guys are trying to hit him, and he's getting away from them. So, they're gonna like him there, and I think it's a good pick.
There you go. Just hearing a couple of little trades have happened, pick swaps mostly. So we'll get to that when they get to us. But we'll continue rolling on. The 11th overall pick in the 2010 draft to the Yorkton Terriers. Our first pick from Fife Lake. And it's Bronson Lamontagne, another great name.
Yeah, and Bronson was another kid that I had an eye on in big part because of how physically mature he is already at 6'2", 196 pounds. He's going to the Blazers. He was the captain at Rink Academy in the CSSHL as well, and he's again shows that leadership. Moving from Kelowna there to Saskatoon, but again, big boy, lays the body, physical, mature. The points were not there maybe as much because maybe he wasn't relied upon as much in the CSSHL to do that, but really big, strong kid, and again, not too physically far away from being able to contribute at the SJHL level.
Now, Nugsy, I should have mentioned this. This is actually one of the biggest storylines coming into this entire draft. Earlier on in the second round of the 2011 portion, the Humboldt Broncos made the 24th selection.
Yeah.
That was Flin Flons. Of course, that was in the massive trade deadline acquisition where Connor Miller, Ryder Knutson, and Charlie Tritt went to Flin Flon, of course, helping them win a championship. Humboldt selected Braden Thomas in the second round of the 2011 draft with one of those picks, and they're up with another one of those picks. Of course, the first round selection that was traded in this 2010 draft is now Humboldt's, and it's this pick here, and it's Eli Bowden out of Regina. So just wanted to maybe emphasize that storyline a bit because I forgot about it in the first part. I should have remembered it, but of course, this is another pick from that trade. Eli Bowden.
Yeah, Regina kid, another skilled small offensive defenseman, but he can fly. Like this kid can really skate. He can really break out a puck. Another Regina Vix U18 AA kid, but guys are always looking for guys that can play on the power play. And again, Braden Klamosko will be keeping a close eye on this kid with the Estevan Bears AAA. You think obviously of Boston Harkness coming out of there as kind of the leader of their program the last little while, among others. But obviously much smaller kid, but again, really can skate and really create on the power play. And he's a lot of fun to watch, even though he's a little guy.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that's the first round. We're on to the second round. The picks are rolling, so we're going to also continue to roll. Now, Nugsy, one thing I mentioned to you while we were in commercial break there is almost this entire round has been traded, at least one time each pick, sometimes more than once. So we'll get to that. Originally owned by Larange, it is now Nipawin's selection, and Nipawin has selected with the 13th overall pick, Lyndon Abercrombie from Saskatoon. There you go.
Yeah, he's a big boy, 6'3", pushing it already at his size. He's going to the PA Mintos, back to the PA Mintos, even though he's from Saskatoon. But yeah, he's got size. The offense will continue to grow. He had about a half point per game as a 15-year-old on a PA Mintos team and 80 penalty minutes as well. So he doesn't mind the rough stuff given his size. I think one thing that he'll maybe be better at the junior A level is the fact that his size won't make him draw as many penalties because the guys that he's battling with are not as small. That's what he's used to. So I think that's a piece for them. But again, whenever you see a physically mature kid, nice year with the Saskatoon Stallions Bantams a couple years ago, 25 goal scorer there. So he'll go to the dirty areas and bang them in, but he's got the size and you like to see that.
There you go. 14th overall selection, Nugsy. This one, I would love to see a trade tree built around this pick specifically. Yeah. It was originally owned by Warman. It was then moved to Weyburn. Then it was moved to Melfort, but now it's back to Weyburn. So Weyburn's got it back. And they have selected Leighton Labreche out of White City.
Yeah.
There you go. So a lot of movement on this trade, or on this pick. What can you tell me about Leighton Labreche?
Yeah, again, not too far away there from Weyburn. Prairie Storm kid, played with the Contacts last year for one game, but he is going to the Estevan Bears, which is not that far down the road. Cody Mapes can call him up easily because he's in the Estevan Bears, which is whatever, half an hour away. Yep. And again, a kid that's physically very, very mature already, heavy for his age. He's around 5'11", 200 pounds, kind of pushing it already at that age. So he should be physically able to dominate at the U18 level next year. Love that.
Okay, a pick that hasn't been traded. It's just originally owned by Kindersley, and they've made the selection. The 15th overall pick, Caden Niaz out of Regina. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Caden. Sorry if I'm not. I'll learn it eventually. Caden Niaz out of Regina.
Yeah, Swift Current AAA player, going to be next year, even though he played for the Regina Vix. Offensive kid. His body is is growing. He was last listed at 5'10". My understanding is he's actually bigger than that now. Sure. So he's going to continue to grow, but Swift Current AAA, he'll get plenty of opportunity.
Breaking news, Nugsy. Kids grow.
Kids grow.
At this age. Yeah, it's a good age. Good age for growing.
Yep.
All right, the Humboldt Broncos, 16th overall selection. This name looks familiar. I don't know if this is connected to the family we are familiar with.
Yep.
Owen Kale out of Saskatoon.
Yeah. So Eric, his brother.
Yeah.
Of course. Former many teams in our league. Estevan, Weyburn, among others. Tri-City Americans, etc. His brother, I think, ended up in Junior B, but Saskatoon kids. But he's going to play for the Mintos. He's a right shot defenseman. Is Owen, played for the River Kings, so I guess probably grew up taking shots on his big brother.
I would think so.
His brother getting out there to take those shots, but big offensive guy, 16 points in 26 games as a defenseman in the regular season, but over a point per game in the playoffs. You like to see those guys produce even more when the games matter the most, and get another Saskatoon River Kings kid, so you know that he's going to be a kid that's got some confidence and some talent.
There we go. The 17th overall pick now, originally owned by Estevan, was literally just traded to the Battlefords North Stars. My understanding, from what I've been told, is that was a pick swap for a trade next year, second round, next year's draft. So the Battlefords North Stars have selected Jax Hansen out of Balgoni, Nukes.
Yeah, big offense. Small stature, but 42 assists last year for the Prairie Storm U18 AA. So again, there's skill there. Not a lot of size, but height doesn't measure heart, and he's got tools.
Yeah, there you go. Weyburn's back on the clock as they have traded for this pick from Melville, originally the 18th overall selection, to the Weyburn Red Wings is Owen Tribbier out of Moose Jaw. Our first Moose Jaw pick, I believe. Owen Tribbier.
Not too many anyways. Going AAA next year for the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors. Obviously, Cody Mapes does have history there with picking Moose Jaw kids. Obviously, you think about Ryan Gibbs, of course, from there. Played 3 games
Captain.
for that's right, for the AAA Moose Jaw team. But the AA Moose Jaw team, this guy dominated. Tribbier did last year, even though, again, not a big boy. 23 goals and 55 points for AA Moose Jaw last year. So, again, nothing like going into your AAA year as a confident kid. And, just continue to grow and see if Cody Mapes can bring him in at some point next year.
Nice. Okay, so the pick earlier that I said got traded a bunch of times, Warman, Weyburn, Melfort, Weyburn. The comment on that from our good friend Curtis Stepp, who's in the war room right now. Shout out to Curtis and Helen Stepp, who are helping us out today. The comment on that trade note was, Weyburn gets this pick as it is Melfort's highest pick in this round. So Melfort acquired it from Weyburn, but because of another trade consequence, Weyburn got it back because it was the highest pick. Then this pick was Melfort's. It went to Weyburn, but now it's back to Melfort, and the comment is, see a comment above. And I just love that. So it's all connected. But the Melfort Mustangs are on the clock with this one, and they have selected Oliver Homstall out of Tisdale.
Interesting kid in that he's played in 3 different leagues in the last 3 years, which is always very interesting. And so he's had to live away from home. He's had to do his own laundry, et cetera, et cetera.
Matures you fast, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he'd spent some time in Edmonton with OHA Edmonton U15 Preps a couple of years ago. But then he spent this past year, a whole year as a 15-year-old in Tisdale, which is, of course, just down the road. And the great Rick Oakes, of course, the scouting guru for Melfort, who also helped me out a ton with this draft. As well, so shout out to the great Rick Oakes. He played the whole year there with Tisdale, so clearly Rick Oakes knows the player extremely well. But this kid is more about guts and heart and grit and finding ways to win, and obviously that's the trademark a lot of Trevor Blevins' teams. They'll beat you 3-2, but then they'll also beat you, and they'll beat you, and they'll beat you, and they'll find ways to beat you. And Homstall is that type of mature kid who's maybe less flash and more grit.
You mentioned living away from home, doing your own laundry. This is a message to all the kids eligible today, all the kids eligible for the future. Start doing your own laundry at this time. It'll mature you quickly. So start doing your own laundry. Parents, you can thank me later. You'll mature quickly and you'll look better in the eyes of scouts. I'll tell you what, if you tell a scout you do your own laundry, you're going to get drafted. Don't quote me on that for sure, but it's a helpful hint.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, for sure. Okay, Weyburn originally owned this next pick with the 8th overall pick in this round, the 20th overall selection overall. The Melville Millionaires now own the pick, and they have selected Cohen Golyabuff Munroe. Love the last name, out of Saskatoon. Nugsy.
Yeah, he went away to Medicine Hat and played Saha U17 Preps last year, so there wasn't a ton of offense for him as a defenseman that way, but he'll continue to grow as he gets, puck touches. He's going to go to Warman AAA as well come to the Saskatchewan League, and he's going to hope to get a bigger opportunity there with the Wildcats. But again, the talent profile is there. Saskatoon kid coming back home from the CSSHL. Love to see it.
We're going to wrap up a trade portion from our trade that we mentioned earlier between Nipawin and Kindersley. This is now a pick that was originally owned by Nipawin. Now Kindersley, of course, from that trade. Connor Watson, Brock Evans, Justice Cutler, we talked about that one. The Kindersley Clippers, with the 21st overall pick, have selected out of Saskatoon, Jack Prasovsky. Nugsy, is that a Prasovsky that connected to any that we've known from the past?
I would love someone to tell me.
Let us know.
But yeah, there's been lots of Prasovskys
There
around
has been.
Saskatoon for sure. Another Saskatoon River Kings kid. This kid was a darling of a lot of the drafts. Just a lot of the scouts, pardon me, because of the physical maturity. I think is a big piece of it. Big power forward, and he moves well for a kid his size. I think he's got a big frame. They're hoping that he gets in the gym and gets stronger physically, but he's going to go to the Yorkton Maulers, and he's expecting, I believe, to have a pretty big role there as well. So, you take a kid that's got good size, that's expecting to have a big role. Once he gets stronger on the puck, the expectation is he's going to explode, and he could be a star in our league in a couple of years.
Love that. And if he's related to any of the Prasovskys that we've heard of, good family. Good family.
Yeah.
All right, the 22nd overall selection, originally owned by Battlefords, is now with Melville, and they have selected Ty Rusnak out of York Lake, our first York Lake of the day.
That's right, and just down the street, Yorkton Maulers kid as well, so easy for Doug Johnson and his staff to go find him. Again, played all 43 games for the Yorkton Maulers last year, so kid that has AAA experience, even though the offensive production wasn't huge at 8 points for him, but pretty decent production the year before. Again, not a big boy, but again, down the road, can call him up, can take a good look at him, teach him your ways, and the expectation is that the Yorkton Maulers as a program are going to continue to keep getting better and better as they've committed to kids. And I think it's always better for hockey in our province when hockey in Yorkton, be it the Terriers, who have been obviously awesome lately, championship run, and when the Maulers are doing well, because it's a big hockey hotbed, it's a big hockey center for us.
And I remember, Nugsy, you'll remember this, in the SJHL Finals broadcast, shout out to our good friends at Sastel Max TV and Bamboo Shoots. I spoke with Dustin Nearing, who's actually running the program there now. He's helping run the program anyways. And he was very impressive, very good stuff, very interesting things coming out from him. So like you said, the Yorkton Maulers on their way up. Maybe Ty Rusnak's a big part of that going forward next year at least. Okay, 23rd overall. We'll keep moving on. The Yorkton Terriers, speaking of Yorkton, have selected Lucas Dreschler out of Hudson Bay. There we go.
Yeah, Hudson Bay, but again, you talk about a kid that's away from home. Tisdale, U18, AAA, West Rudy keeps pumping out players. Sask East, Oilers, U16, AA as well. I think he's going to have to get up to speed with the level of hockey in AAA. From that U16 AA league to the U18 AAA league is a big jump for a lot of kids. But again, away from home. Mature, put up big numbers, 31 assists and 46 points in 34 games in U16 AA this last year. So he's going to come in real confident to Tisdale and again, hopefully learn under West Rudy. And again, as I said, Tisdale, I expect to have a very good team and go on a run next year.
There you go. The Flin Flon Bombers back on the clock after they've traded a couple of their last picks. So they are back, and they have selected Bevan Swan out of Saskatoon. So that concludes the second round portion of the draft. But what can you tell us about Bevan Swan?
Yeah, not a big forward, but he's going to play again for the Tisdale Trojans. Seems like it's like a run. It's like a guy picks a guy from a place. He's like, oh, you should draft
got to pick his
kid
teammate
from there. He did play some Saskatoon Blazers as well last year, but he's going to land with the Trojans. And again, John Clausen again has his finger on the pulse really, really well of everywhere, really. And again, a skilled kid. So, big ups there to the Flin Flon Bombers and Bevan Swan.
There we go. Let's get a recap graphic up from the first round of the 2010 portion, if we can, gentlemen, in the back. As you can see, Arlo Barkley selected first overall, Duncan Mitchell second, Parker Gabriel third, Burke Witter fourth, and as you can see, on and on and on. From there. So congratulations to all the first rounders in this draft. The second round as well concluded. As you can see, we started with Lyndon Abercrombie. We ended with Bevan Swan. So congratulations to everybody picked so far. Let's keep moving here, Nugsy, as the third round is underway. Is actually it's concluded. So let's catch up. Okay, Larange has traded this pick to Flin Flon, and Flin Flon actually has a few picks in a row. Actually, Flin Flon loaded up. They just picked Bevan Swan, and now they are selecting 3 of the next 4 picks. So Mike Reagan got busy, and John Clausen got busy and made a few picks here. They have selected Liam Harris out of Saskatoon with the first overall in the third round.
My understanding is Mike Reagan is beside a pool somewhere drinking a beverage, but this is John Clausen.
Well-deserved.
So there you go. Well-deserved. Yeah, 22 points in 30 games for Liam Harris, Saskatoon River Kings. Pretty physically mature. Early birth year forward as well, a February birth year, 2010. So again, he's going to continue to grow, but he's already 6 foot, 181 if you're going to play in the Whitney Forum. Usually you need a little bit of size too, yeah. You know, he's a kid that's going to play for the PA Mintos next year. So they're going to be looking for kids who can score to have opportunity.
There you go. Okay, sticking with Flin Flon, originally a Warman selection, now Flin Flon, and they went with Hudson Wazelenka out of Wynyard, the Wynyard Monarchs hometown.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously a kid, again, out of Wynyard, but he went to Prairie Hockey Academy in Caronport last year, over a point per game as a right shot defenseman there in that CSSHL league. So again, not a big boy, needs to put on a few pounds there. But again, he's got tools, he's got talent, and he's got confidence. And
those are good things to have.
They're always looking for guys who can produce on the back end.
Okay, originally owned by Kindersley, moved to Weyburn, moved to Humboldt, and I believe I have the details of that trade, actually. Humboldt gets the 27th pick in this year's draft. Weyburn gets Humboldt's 2nd round pick next year in this draft. So that's the swap that we see here today. And the Humboldt Broncos have selected out of Munster, our first Munster selection of the day, Cohen Kuntz. Cohen Kuntz out of Munster.
Yeah, again, this is it a stash? Is it a kid to see? Obviously, again, with goalies, it's so hard to know, but it was such a projectable frame already, and the kid that the Lethbridge Hurricanes really closely have their eye on too. He's already 6'2", 190, and you know, he's going to get a good opportunity to play a net for the Prince Albert Mintos next year. But Swift Broncos U15 kid as well, WHL Cup attendee. I know they're going to keep a close eye on him with Team Sask, and again, very projectable frame. And you never know with goalies, opportunity and whatnot down the line. So not a bad stash pick at this point for sure.
Perfect. Flin Flon back on the clock again. They have acquired this pick from Humboldt, and this is they have selected, Trey Stanhope out of Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw's Trey Stanhope selected by Flin Flon.
Yeah, again, kind of partnered with Arlo Barkley there in Wilcox, under Casey O'Brien. A tough year down with the Hounds, but other projectable defenseman, going to continue to grow and hit the weight room, maybe with Adam Chernick down in Wilcox, and continue to grow. But again, trying to stash another AAA defenseman with experience at this. Whenever you can get a kid that's played considerable minutes, even at AAA in this draft, it's always a good thing.
For sure. The Estevan Bruins, with the 29th overall selection, I believe, have selected Dane Irwin out of Swift Current. We should just go to Commissioner Kyle McIntyre for this one to tell us about Dane Irwin if he's from Swift Current. But Nugsy, what can you tell me? Yeah,
another PHA kid as well. 5'11", 161 pounds already. Plays hard, but also, he's a powerful skater. Like, he's got a great stride to him already. Physical kid, gets in on the forecheck and works really hard. Again, the offense will come, but the size is very projectable already. And again, he skates with a lot of confidence in himself. So you love to see that already.
With the 30th overall selection, the Melville Millionaires are on the clock with this one, and they have selected Kipton Kennedy out of Saskatoon. Now, we saw earlier a Kennedy out of Saskatoon selected in the 2011 portion. Not sure if there's any relation there, Nugsy. Maybe you know or maybe you don't. But what can you tell me about Kipton?
Yeah, he had a nice year with the Saskatoon Contacts. Not offensively, but he got opportunity. He played a good amount, despite the fact that he was young and trying to put up some numbers, 4 points in 43 games. But again, a 15-year-old, so keep that in mind. And the expectation is that he'll be a real threat moving forward. Really a high hockey IQ. He can play penalty kill, play in lots of situations. He'll grow into his 5'10", 150-pound frame, and again, very projectable, mature kid.
Nice. Okay, now this name looks familiar. It sounds familiar. Probably is familiar. Nugsy, you tell me in a sec. With the 31st overall selection, part of a trade that was made about a week ago, Maddox Schindel was traded from the Melville Millionaires to the Melfort Mustangs. This pick was included in that trade. That's going to be an interesting selection, or a trade that we'll talk about at some point down the road. Potential big-time player there, Maddox Schindel. He had a really good showing with Melville last year. But the Melville Millionaires have selected with that pick Cruz Abig out of Saskatoon. What can you tell me?
Yeah, obviously, you know, Cameron Abig and Cruz Abig, they're the relation. Saskatoon River Kings, you know, 10 goals, 22 points, 29 games for Cruz. And the thing about the Abigs is not big physically, but
Are they
big
twins?
hearts. No. But big hearts, and it's a situation where he played for Edmonton last year as well, in HC Edmonton in the JPHL, and was about a point per game there too. So again, confident offensive kid. Saskatoon contacts, you know, gave him a look too. And again, there's big heart in that family. So there you go.
Cousins? What are they? Born the same year. Interesting.
Let us know.
Let us know. I'm gonna assume cousins. If they're not twins, gotta be cousins. Okay, Weyburn with the 32nd overall selection in this one have selected Levi Lilliard. Sorry, Levi. Lillajord. I'm gonna go Lillajord. Let's go Lillajord out of Ceylon. Our first Ceylon selection of the day. I was trying to make the Swedish pronunciation, because if that was Swedish, it would be, he's got to be a Viking for sure. He would be Lillajord, but I'm going to say Lillajord.
Well,
let's go with that. Weyburn.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Radville Minor Hockey
Hey,
as
shout out
well.
Radville.
One of the colder rinks I've ever been in my life. But there you go, Radville Nationals youth hockey. Yeah, I played down at ND U17 prep last year more than anything. Former Weyburn wing as well, minor hockey guy, and you know, just a kind of a skinny, long, projectable frame to him. Continue to grow into it, but the offensive projection is there. He had 12 points in 30 games in U17 prep, and you know, can kind of play a little bit of D as well, a little bit of forward, so he's a little bit versatile too, and so it'll be interesting to see where he goes moving forward.
And I hope I didn't butcher his name too badly. Apologize to you, Levi. I'm going to say it's Levi Lillajord. Okay, originally owned by Nipwin, this pick has been traded to Kindersley, and it is now the Kindersley Clippers selecting 33rd overall, Felix Dirksen out of Saskatoon. Shout out to Felix Dirksen.
Yeah, well, there you go. I was sitting there talking before the draft and wondering how many goalies would be picked, and so far more goalies than I thought have been picked.
Yeah.
So there you go, Felix Dirksen. And you love a goalie who's a young goalie who's got good opportunity to play at a high level.
Definitely, yeah.
And Saskatoon Contacts did play him 17 times last year, and he did really well. With a 338 goals against and an 898 save percentage for the Saskatoon Contact, 791 record as a very young, you know, 15-year-old goalie getting an opportunity there. So again, Kindersley can kind of play him right away if they need him as a goalie.
Sure.
You know, talk about a guy that's gonna, hopefully they get a bigger size to him, but if not, not afraid of, you know, on the smaller side of goalie in Kindersley, as long as he can make the save, and clearly there's something they like about Felix.
Love that. Okay, with 34th overall selection as we continue on here, the Battleford's North Stars are back on the clock, and they've selected Cash Borowski out of Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Another Cash in the league.
So much for the throw out the whole no goalies thing here. He was one of the top goalies expected in this draft, Cash Borowski, Saskatoon River Kings kid. You know, very athletic, very agile goaltender. You know, very confident, comes out the top of his blue very well. Doesn't sit back. You see a lot of young goalies sit back and be a little bit timid. He's very aggressive. Saskatoon Blazers are expected to give him some decent ice time this year too, and they're going to be somebody that's going to be keeping an eye on, a kid that's going to continue to grow. But there's a lot of people who are really high on Cash.
That's good. Okay, 35th overall selection, back to the Yorkton Terriers, and we have Kenniston on the board now, as Jet Perpich out of Kenniston has been selected by the Yorkton Terriers.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a frame. 6'2". You know, we saw them, you know, take some other kids earlier, Yorkton, based on almost on frame, almost 6'2" right now, 155 pounds is the understanding, but he might have added some more pounds since then. You know, he's learning to add more offense to his game, but he loves to have the puck. He's confident with it. He can protect it well. He's just got to, you know, finish more of those opportunities that he gets. But the Tisdale Trojans, AAA, you know, really high on him, expecting him to have a bigger role. But 6'2", you can't teach that.
Okay, wrapping up the third round now, the 2010 portion of this draft, 36th overall to the Flin Flon Bombers, William Shaw out of Saskatoon. Congratulations, William.
Yeah, another run-on goalies. The other Saskatoon River Kings goalie played 11 of their games this past year. Again, not a big boy at all. At 5'10", 130 is what he's listed. I'm sure he's more than that, but very nice numbers. 258 goals against, 915 save percentage for a really, really good U18 AA program. And, you know, again, confident, winning culture, goaltender. Again, it's always good to have goalies as options wherever you go. Obviously, Flin Flon traveling around, and he's a guy that they'll have a close eye on.
There you go. Okay, the fourth round is underway. Actually, I see some names in the fifth round already. Some very interesting names coming up here that we're going to mention. But first, we just mentioned Flin Flon making another selection. Nugsy, a couple years ago, 2022, in the first round of this draft, the Flin Flon Bombers selected Leo Seitz. Several years later, he's hoisting a trophy above his head as champion in this league. Just goes to show you how important this SJHL draft is. So why don't we hear from Leo Seitz now, recent champion with the Flin Flon Bombers. All right, we're joined now by Leo Seitz of the Flin Flon Bombers. Of course, now I can say it, Leo, SJHL champion, so congrats on that. We'll talk about that in a little bit here, but we're here on draft day, and of course, back in 2023, you were a first-round draft pick yourself. So let's start there. What do you remember about your draft day or getting told that you got picked in the first round?
Yeah, it was a super special day. I remember I was going to the gym actually and working out with a bunch of guys that I do in the summer, and they had the draft show on the TV there because multiple guys in the gym are supposed to get drafted, and I saw my name pop up to Flin Flon, and I was super excited. And then Regs called me right after that, told me I was picked, and that's basically it. But it was a super special day for myself and my family.
Yeah, you know, really cool. 4, 5, 6 in that draft. You, Teo Fleury, Will Witter.
Couple of good players.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Good job. And Preston Bearwald and Jackson Herchak ahead of them. So it was a great draft overall, just to be part of that. Yeah. I got to ask you, you know, again, I don't know what your situation is with the Tri-City Americans, but obviously you chose to go the Flin Flon route. You know, what went into that decision, you know, between that and maybe trying out a Tri-City?
Yeah, I mean, a big thing for my family is education, and that's something my parents take a lot of pride in. And my goal was to go the college route, and still is. And you know, with Flin Flon and their reputation, they move guys on very well to the next level. And you know, talking to Regs before I came, that was the best spot for me to develop. You know, work on my game and prepare myself for the next level. And that's what went into that decision.
Thinking back for yourself, Leo, when you got picked, what was draft year Leo Seitz like in terms of a player, and what have you evolved since then to improve yourself now that you've had a couple years under your belt?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think I've come a long way. Draft year Leo Seitz was all offense and no defense. That's for sure. I've matured a lot as a player and became more of a 200-foot player. Kind of pride myself in being able to play all situations of a game. Now kill penalties and, you know, take big face-offs. So, you know, coming to Flin Flon and Regs taking me under his wing and turning me into a complete player I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, all offense. Well, a good place to go to learn the other side would be under Mike Reagan and Flin Flon. You don't have a choice.
Yeah. I mean, Bantam went okay for you, Leo. I think.
Yeah.
So worked out fine. Gotta ask you too, Leo, and last one for me. Obviously, so many Saskatoon kids around. I guess just talk about the importance of having this draft, to keep Saskatchewan kids in the league. Obviously, there are guys on your team, from different places. Obviously, Wyatt Stinton, from rink being one, but also lots of Saskatoon kids around, and just Sask hockey kids from the pipeline that it is. Just talk about the importance of the draft from your opinion.
Yeah, I think it's super important to have local talent drafted and local talent to be able to play in this league, and mostly close to home is really important. I think that being able to have kids that are from Saskatchewan in the league represents the league very well. Showing what caliber of hockey we have here in Saskatchewan and the type of game we play: fast, hard, physical, and smart and skilled. So I think it's a great representation of Saskatchewan's hockey, and I think the draft is super important, keeping players from Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan.
Love that. Okay, last one. Obviously now you've had, it feels like it just happened, but now that you've had, I don't know, a few weeks now to kind of decompress from the whole national championship situation, the playoff run that you guys had. Can you reflect now? What have you kind of thought of, and how have you reflected back on A, the playoff run, and then B, your time at the national championship, the Centennial Cup?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it still doesn't really feel real. I mean, it's so special for not only us, our team, but the community of Flin Flon, being able to see a team win in that community that shows so much support to us, and a community that it's all in on hockey there, and it's such a tight-knit community. So it's so special being able to win and bring the trophy back to Flin Flon. And secondly, nationals. I mean, obviously it didn't go how we would have liked it to go. But, we're right there, and we showed that we were one of the best teams in Canada, and we showed that we can compete at that level. I mean, obviously the first game against Quebec, losing 1-0, didn't get much breaks. It was tough. And then the next game, losing to Toronto pretty bad, also hurt us. But, I think after that, we started playing bomber hockey and playing fast, playing hard, sticking to our game. And we showed that we are one of the best teams in Canada.
Absolutely. Lots to be proud of, Leo, but we'll let you get going. Appreciate you joining us today. Get back to work, because you have a championship to defend next season. So appreciate you joining us, and we'll chat again, I'm sure.
And get back to that fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Leo Seitz. Great chat there with a champion and a former first-round draft pick in this draft format. You love to see it. Now, Nugsy, a really cool story. We mentioned Felix Dirksen selected just a few picks ago in this broadcast, at least, by the Kindersley Clippers. And I just want to give a shout-out to our partnership in the SJHL with Saskatoon Minor Hockey, because we partnered with them, 3 years ago now? 4 years ago now? 3 years, at least 3. With Saskatoon Minor Hockey to be a partner of their 15UA league. And the 15UA Saskatoon Clippers just posted that Felix Dirksen played for them a couple years, last year, maybe the year ago or year before that. So Felix Dirksen coming straight out of our partnership with the Saskatoon 15UA League, and you love to see it.
And you knew Gibby, the GM of Ryan Gibson, the GM of the Clippers, knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that.
And,
he's a Saskatoon guy.
And he played for the Saskatoon Clippers, and they selected him on the Kindersley Clippers.
Cool. Love that.
So you love to see it. Shout out to our partnership over there, continuing to pay off, and it's such a cool thing that we have going on up there in Saskatoon. Okay, the fourth round is now underway. Well, it is completed, so let's catch up. The L'Orange Ice Wolves on the clock with the 37th overall selection. They've selected Rhett Franklin out of Prince Albert. Nugs.
Yeah, D-man, bright shot D-man, 16 goals as a defenseman for the for the Prince Albert Renegades for his hometown team. Again, skilled offensive defenseman. Put it on a what's it called when you have an app and you soundboard it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. The app soundboards. Love that.
I forget the word.
I think we have a horn back there. Okay, 38th overall selection. The Warman Wolverines went with Benjamin Meyer out of Regina, Nugsy.
This is so awesome. Obviously, Trent, his dad is a beauty. Ben, obviously at Regina Pat C's this past year on that run to the Telus Cup with the Pat C's. Great young goaltender, little guy, but incredible goaltender. You know, one of the best. I know Evan Hutchin won the goalie of the year in AAA, but Ben was right there with him, even though he was a young guy. And a big part of skating and working with the Heroes hockey program in Regina, where developmentally delayed kids get to skate with high level hockey players and learn through hockey, and his dad is a big piece of that. And
Love
Ben's
that.
a terrific young man. Obviously, Brett knows him from the time there in Wilcox as well. So, great connection. I know the Western League has good eyes on Ben Meyer too, Team Saskatchewan, etc. But if he can play for Warman and be in our league, I'd be thrilled to have a human being like that.
There you go. 39th overall selection as we move on. Hard to follow that one, Nugsy.
No.
The Kindersley Clippers have selected Liam Bird out of Regina. Liam Bird, a Kindersley Clipper.
Yeah, another kid that was at ND last year, U17, AAA there, 11 points in 32 games, but again, a right shot defenseman.
A lot of those so far.
Looking for those defensemen. Everybody's stockpiling them, pardon me. Regina kid, you don't see too many Regina kids go to ND, but that's interesting. But there you go, another right shot D goes.
The 40th overall selection, the Humboldt Broncos have selected, this is a familiar name, out of Lanigan, Cash Elk. I feel like we've heard that last name before.
Cash Elke was the captain of the Humboldt Broncos U15s a couple years ago. Had a huge year there for them. Again, this is kind of a swing, hoping that kind of a local boy, lands there at some point in his career. He's already played for the Moose Jaw Warriors, by the way, in the Western Hockey League. I don't know if you've heard of them before.
Yep.
But he's a big boy, 6'4", 170 pounds. He is a monster already at his age, and again, he's going to play AAA, and he'll be expected to be a real force for them as well. In AAA this next year coming up. If he's doesn't make Moose Jaw. But I know Brendan Klomosko and company will keep a close eye on the local boy.
Keep a close eye.
Hey, this kid could play in the SJ right now.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. 41st overall selection in this draft goes to the Estevan Bruins, and they have selected Walker Bergen out of Hague, Saskatchewan. First one out of Hague today.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Brad Pilkington, who has Carter Bergen, would have maybe liked to draft him, but Drew Kocur and company are just going, yep, we'll take him. There you go. Obviously, Hague not too far from Warman.
Love draft games.
But
Love
he's a
those
terrific
games.
skater, plays with energy, big frame. The pure puck touch elements will join him, even though he's a D-man, unlike his brother. But again, there's a lot to like. Again, the physical maturity piece is there. Just like Carter is continue to grow for Warman. Hopefully next year is a great year, a better year offensively, and a better year for results for Warman.
For sure.
But and maybe we'll see a big brother clash. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I spoke to Carter in one of our games of the month with Bamboo Shoots. He was one of my interviews, rinkside. Yeah. Great kid, really excited kid. It was awesome. Yeah. Okay, the 42nd overall selection was originally owned by Melville. It is now Larange, and the Larange Ice Wolves have selected Gavin Steeves out of Regina.
Yeah, he's going to play for Moose Jaw AAA down the road there. Another goaltender, played for the Regina Vics. Really good program. And again, you stockpile goalies as best as you can. Good projectable frame, 5'11", 175, will continue to grow. But just from a practical standpoint, too, it makes lots of sense for Bob Beattie. By the way, congratulations, new GM, Taylor Harnett, new head coach there in Larange, to have a goalie in the South when you're going traveling around. Have a goalie. Right. Not because he's a slouch, because he's a very good goaltender, but just also to have the logistics of having somebody to call on if you need him.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, I'm seeing some comments. I haven't clicked into the comments for a while. We're seeing lots of stuff coming in. So please keep those comments coming in. It's super awesome to see you guys chatting in the group chats here on YouTube and over on Facebook as well. So keep the comments coming. Please hit the like button. Please hit the share button. Okay, we'll move on. I got to refresh. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. With the 43rd overall pick, the Melfort Mustangs own this one, and they have selected Paxton Hale out of Martinsville. I believe that's our first Martinsville of the day as well.
Yeah, and again, obviously they're creating a lot of good players there in Martinsville.
Yeah, they are.
And by the way, Rick Oakes obviously knows that area too. And so, real talented kid for, Trevor Blevins to get his fingers into there for the Milford Mustangs. Prince Albert Minto's got a touch on him this past year, and mostly in that U16 AA League for the Marauders, which is a great program. We saw how great the turnout was there in Martinsville for the Western All-Star Challenge, and this kid was over a point per game as a defenseman for that league. It's going to be a big uptick for him into AAA next year, but again, confidence, and you can't buy that.
Right. Now, this next pick, we talked about a couple picks ago, taking a swing at a kid. This one by Cody Mapes and company, I believe, might be one of those considerations. With the 44th overall selection, the Weyburn Red Wings have selected Riker Doka out of Regina, very highly touted prospect out of Regina. So Cody Mapes and company, like I said, taking a swing. See what happens.
It's a good swing, and here's why: because Cody knows him.
Sure. Well, that's what I mean. I'm sure there's some
Regina minor
there.
Hockey.
You don't just take a swing on a kid like Riker Doka without
he's a kid who knows. Obviously, the Spokane Chiefs fully in their plans. You'd think. In the Western League, absolutely dominant season for the Pat Seas this past year as well, and a big piece for them, but not huge. Will the strength and size of the Western League work out for him, or will he, be a kid that just maybe needs a little bit more time to develop that way, and maybe lands in Weyburn? But again, Cody knows him. Bring him in. See if you can get him to be a Weyburn Red Wing, because he would be a star in our league for sure.
Just for reference, he was drafted last year, second round by the Spokane Chiefs. So very high WHL pick last year.
Yeah.
So,
but in this game world, relationships are huge, and
having
that relationship is big. Yeah.
Take a pick. I'd tell him.
He was fun to watch in Wilcox. I'll tell you when he was there. Watched him a few times.
For sure. 45th overall pick was originally owned by Nipawin, now Battlefords, and they have selected a familiar name if you're in Warman, Paul Abermetz out of Saskatoon. So there's a little, we mentioned some draft day games going on. I don't know if this is a game necessarily, but an interesting pick here by Battlefords.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously, John's son, you mentioned that the owner there in Warman, 29 points in 36 games for the NDU 17 Hounds down there as they continue to try to kind of rebuild things under Wade Klippenstein there in Wilcox. But, again, very projectable. His big brother is a player around too. So, skilled offensive defenseman, and again, some pretty interesting SJHL connections.
There you go. All right, the 46th overall pick, originally owned by Battlefords, now Humboldt, is Benson Wallace out of Shaunavon, our first Shaunavon of the day. Shout out to Benson Wallace.
Yeah, and his obviously brother. That is Wallace, not Wallace. But anyways, his brother, his brother Talon was on, I believe it was Estevan, and again had a really nice year. Wallace did there with the Swift Current Broncos, AA U18 point per gamer. But one thing about the Wallace boys is they're physical. They like to get in your grill and hit you and whatnot. So there's something that they know about that, and again, can't teach that sort of desire to look for physical contact, and that's what the Wallaces are all about.
For sure. Okay, now if we had some WWE entrance music ready to go, which we can't because we'll get sued, we would play it for this next pick. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything. But it's the Beast Incarnate's son himself. 47th overall pick to the Yorkton Terriers, Duke Lesnar out of Merrifield, which is a great story there. Duke Lesnar.
Obviously, Brock and Sable, his parents.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar and Sable.
We forgot about Sable as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget her.
Don't forget Sable.
And obviously, a little bit of a color coordination situation, too, because he's a Medicine Hat Tigers prospect.
Right,
and
selected by Medicine Hat last
different
year.
colors there for Yorkton. But physical, hard-nosed kid. Obviously doesn't hurt to have the family in the fold. But a lot of people are high on him, and obviously projects to be an absolute monster. Physically, as you would expect. So there you go.
The best part about it is if you go to his Elite Prospects page, I'm currently on his older brother Turk's Elite Prospects page. It says Father Brock Lesnar, Mother Sable, Brother Duke Lesnar. That's just so.
Yeah. Does Sable need an Elite Prospects page?
Sable has an Elite.
God bless Sable. She was awesome.
It's an external link.
Does she need an Elite?
It's an external link. It says right beside it.
I guess does Brock either?
Maybe a Wikipedia page. Yeah. But anyways, shout out to Brock. Hi, Brock. Hi, Sable.
Hello.
And Duke, now a member of the Yorkton Terriers
Big farm family. Big farm family.
Big farm family.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen any recent podcasts that Brock Lesnar's been on, he loves talking about his farm. It's fantastic stuff. So really cool. There you go. Duke Lesnar, a member of the Yorkton Terriers. The 48th selection going to the Flin Flon Bombers, and it's going to be Wesley Gibson out of Saskatoon.
Yeah, I mean, again, you take a risk on a kid that played U16 AA, but has tons of confidence, scored lots of goals. Talk about points, totally lit it up for the Bridge City Blues, Saskatoon team in the U16 AA League. 35 goals in 34 games in the regular season, 2 points per game in the playoffs for them. So you expect a kid who's got lots of confidence to just kind of keep going and have that mojo going. And kids who are producing at that level tend to have a love for the game, to continue to grow and work at it too. So, Wesley's, 5'9", is continuing to grow, but can play center. Again, he can really score a lot of goals. And again, you talk about a guy in John Clausen who knows what he's talking about. So there you go.
Okay, the 5th and 6th rounds are actually both complete. So we're going to rapid fire these ones, Nugsy. I don't mean to put pressure on you, but we'll rapid fire these ones. Because we don't want to skip anybody, absolutely. No. We want to give everybody their shine. That's what this whole thing's about. So we'll go with the round 5, 49th overall, first overall in the 5th round, to the Larange Ice Wolves, Robbie Harrison out of Saskatoon.
Yeah, right shot D, Saskatoon River Kings continue to grow. Defense first for him. Bob Beattie, and Harnett, they're going to need all sorts.
Yeah.
And defensive defenseman first.
Very good. 50th overall selection, the Warman Wolverines have selected Drayson Silbernagel out of Moose Jaw. Very big name in the Moose Jaw area.
Yeah, lots and lots of Silbernagels. Obviously, he's a monster. 6'3", 205. I know the Moose Jaw Warriors, a WHL team are already, looking at him. But again, continue to develop his offensive game. Really good offensive guy in minor hockey through Moose Jaw, and he'll continue to get bigger opportunities as he takes bigger steps into AAA hockey this next year.
There you go. All right, Kindersley with the 51st overall selection has selected Jagger Holcomb out of Saskatoon, Nugsy.
Yeah, and this kid played GPHL actually in Edmonton and had a big year there. To translate that into Saskatchewan provincial hockey, be interesting to see. But obviously, Gibson and his crew, Terrell Sweeney and them, will have eyes all over the place. He was around a point per gamer as a forward this past year was Holcomb. But so you continue to see a kid that's kind of wiry and projects to get bigger.
All right, with the 52nd overall selection, originally owned by the Humboldt Broncos, now the Flin Flon Bombers. Nugsy, this is a big one. The Bombers have selected Pass. They have not made a selection. Thanks, guys. They pass. Of course, they've made a ton of picks already. They traded for a bunch of picks higher than this, so their list could be full. It's most likely usually the reason a pass occurs. They have no more room to add a player necessarily. So there you go, our first pass of the day. There are no more passes in the 5th round. We'll get to a couple in the 6th, but just so we know, more players on the way. The Estevan Bruins with the 53rd selection have selected Jacob Glenn out of White City.
Yeah, I believe that there's a relation here to the owner of the Vernon Vipers, in fact, of the British Columbia Hockey League. My brain is full of mush after this draft. But yeah, Lumsden kid, not very big, but PHA last year, continued to get better. Obviously, the Ripplinger family, out there on the Moose Jaw side of things, Caronport area, so they'll have seen him close. And take a shot on a kid that has a good hockey family.
There you go. The 54th overall selection by the Melville Millionaires is Josh Benjamin out of Gull Lake. Not our first Gull Lake of the day.
Well, you talk about a kid that had, got some good ice time as a young kid, and Josh Benjamin, a goaltender as well, and a kid that a lot of people have a lot of eyes on. 10, 4, and 3 for Swift AAA last year as a 15-year-old goalie. So you like to see a goalie with projectable size at 6 foot, 155 pounds, continue to grow and get some ice time.
There you go. Okay, the 55th overall selection, the Melfort Mustangs have selected Braden Nowoselsky out of White City, another White City.
Yeah, and this is a kid that I thought would get maybe even picked a little bit sooner, but I guess maybe it's the size thing. 5'8", 150 pounds. He's going to be Moose Jaw AAA, really skilled offensive guy that's going to put up more numbers. Maybe later because he's a Saskatoon Blades second-round pick as well. So it's a bit of a shot to maybe try to get him in the door. But plays the right way. Hard kid to play against too, despite his size, and he'll continue to grow. But obviously the Saskatoon Blades have close eyes on him too.
Sticking with kids out of Regina, going to Weyburn, which we just saw Riker Doka go to Weyburn with the 56th overall selection. Weyburn has selected Cannon Jr. out of Regina. I know Cannon's dad, Deke, have played baseball against him, I believe.
Is he a good player?
Yes, great athletic family, actually, overall.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Cannon, if I'm not mistaken, very good baseball player also.
There you go.
But there you go, Cannon Jr., Weyburn Red Wing.
Yeah, Regina Vicks, U18 AA, point per gamer last year as well. Talk about a kid that's going to continue to grow. He's already 5'11". He's going to be bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So not a big surprise that they would take a shot at a Regina kid. Probably Cody knows him really well too. And then a kid that's going to project to be bigger.
He almost couldn't have been born any later to be in this draft. He's a December 29th baby. Whoa, he just snuck in there. All right, with the 57th overall pick, Nipawin has selected Carter Downey from Yorkton. Our first Yorkton-specific pick of the day.
That's right, and obviously, again, back in the day, you could just auto-protect as many kids from your area as you
Not
have
so
space
much
for.
anymore.
Not anymore. This kid already played a game even for the Yorkton Maulers, so Tad stealing a kid there from Emery. Sask East Oilers U18 AA kid. Again, area to grow offensively, but the defensive piece is there pretty well already at 6 foot, 160-pound right shot defenseman. So, hey, either he pans out and becomes a good player, or you stole a prospect from a guy who you expect to be there and thereabouts late in the season next year.
For sure. 58th overall pick, the Battleford's North Stars on the clock, and they have selected Noah Delorier out of Moose Jaw.
Yeah, another PHA kid. I love the work that they've done in PHA
Absolutely.
out there in Carenport. Beautiful jerseys.
Shout out to Eric Robitaille.
Yeah, there
Hope
you go.
he's watching.
Yeah, so this kid needs to put on some weight. 5'9", 134 pounds, but the skill is there. 41 points in 36 games at the U17, CSSHL level, and great passer of the puck. Really, really intelligent offensive creator, but just needs to get a little bit bigger and stronger to play at this level, but to continue to grow.
There you go. Okay, 59th overall pick. The Yorkton Terriers have selected Lincoln Romaniak out of White City. Another White City. A big run on White City kids this round.
Yeah, it's almost like they're stealing from each other. Yeah, obviously, again, another kid that was at Notre Dame this past year. Again, projectable body at 5'10", 165 pounds, going to continue to grow his game that way. I know a lot of people are pretty high on him. Moving forward into AAA hockey next year and what he'll do. But the thing about him, too, is when ND got into the playoffs, he got even more important for them. Point per gamer in the playoffs for the U17 preps down in Wilcox. And again, he's on a good trajectory, and that's what you kind of look at.
The Warman Wolverines are on the clock after acquiring the 60th overall selection from Flin Flon, and they have picked Lincoln Evans out of Saskatoon.
Yeah, again, I've talked about how much Brett likes the River Kings kids. Again, another kid that really got better as the playoffs happened and was more relied on as the playoffs happened. Point per game forward in the playoffs after kind of a half point per game, in the regular season. So again, you love that development arc.
There you go. Okay, 6th round. We're on to the 6th round, 6th and final round. 12 picks remaining. We'll start with Larange with the 61st overall pick.
You love this one.
They love this one. This is a big pick for them. Pass. They have passed.
Yeah.
Larange didn't make a selection there. So we're on to pick number 62 in Warman, and it's Riley Brown out of Milestone to the Warman Wolverines with pick number 62 in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, again, so now we're at the point of the draft where people are taking kids that are really highly touted by Western League teams.
Sure.
And are well, hope whether you have a relationship like Brett does with the family. Obviously, Milestone really close to Wilcox. His big brother Brennan was a well thought of guy by Brett and the relationships there. And then obviously the Wenatchee Wild have really high feelings about Riley Brown, and expect Riley to be one of the key players in AAA hockey in Saskatchewan next year with the Moose Jaw AAA Warriors.
2nd overall pick by Wenatchee. So there you go. We're moving on to pick number 63. We mentioned this kid's younger brother earlier in the draft. Another Reshny off the board, Anderson Reshny from Macklin to the Kindersley Clippers. They got both of the Reshnys today.
Yeah, and 2nd round pick of the Prince George Cougars.
Yep.
And so they don't usually miss on prospects up
The
from Prince
Cougars?
George. They have been really, really good at picking and drafting lately.
The Cougars, says our friend Jeremy Corrigan.
One of the more fun offensive defensemen to watch in Saskatchewan AAA hockey this past year with the Blazers, 33 points in 42 games as a defenseman. Obviously, great family ties there, and obviously continue to grow into his body. His big brother did and his little brother will, but it's a situation too where, again, you stash a kid and maybe he'll come to you. But again, I don't think there'll be any qualms by Ryan Gibson, by Kyle Schneider of playing, playing Anderson this year coming up, because he could be a contributor right away.
Right. Of course, older brother Cole.
They might even try to bring him and, hey, why not play with us? I don't know.
Never know.
Never know.
His older brother Cole, of course, Victoria Royals, now with the University of North Dakota.
Right.
Not too bad.
Heard of them, yeah.
The 64th overall selection by Humboldt was a pass, so we'll skip that one. The 65th selection to Estevan is Reed Florent out of Moose Jaw.
Yeah, another Prairie Hockey Academy kid. He only spent 1 year last year, U17 preps. Moose Jaw minor hockey before, so obviously the Ripplinger family, Todd and whatnot, knew a lot about Reed, and a kid that, again, didn't have a huge offensive year with the U17 preps, but centerman, doesn't hurt to stockpile them. 5'11", he'll continue to grow, and a kid that you can play in many situations, so not a bad late round pick.
There you go. I'm just getting a text here from our friend Troy Schuster, who I know has a big hockey connection up in Saskatoon. He says Landon Reshney is a cousin of Cole and Anderson. So Landon Reshney, who was selected earlier, right, is a cousin from Macklin of the other two Reshneys.
Yes,
so not brothers, cousins.
That's right. Austin is the other brother.
There you go.
The one
okay, so thank you.
That was a Nipawin pick. And
I'm sure glad I have Troy in my contact list. Thank you, Troy, for that. Appreciate your information.
So many
This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
I should have talked to my good buddy, Fearsome Lindorf, who's expecting to be a really important player
Fearsome,
for Warman.
call in.
Because he's a big Macklin
Send him a
guy
video
as well.
chat link. Let's get
Tell me the
Fearsome
whole
in here.
family tree of the Reshney family.
All right, the 66th overall selection from the Melville Millionaires out of Regina. It's YB Coates.
Yeah.
Really great first name. Never seen that one before.
Yeah, he had a big offensive year, second in scoring on a U18 AA Regina Vic's team, 36 assists in 36 games. And again, offense, not easy thing to find, not easy to grow on trees. He put up pretty good numbers on the Monarchs a couple years ago as well, U15. So, he's more of a passer than a scorer, but I talked about Doug Johnson looking for instant offense, and YB could be that.
Perfect. Okay, we're moving on to the 67th selection, the Melford Mustangs back in the clock, sticking with a Moose Jaw kid here, Dylan Flanagan out of Moose Jaw to the Melford Mustangs.
Yeah, Dylan Flanagan, another PHA kid, another 1 year PHA kid, 8 points in 30 games last year as a defenseman, but again, gonna continue to grow. But a good stash from out there, and again, they keep on producing good players at PHA, whatever the level is, and so they're doing a wonderful job.
There you go. The Weyburn Red Wings, they've made like 1,000 picks today, so they have passed on their final selection in the 6th round here. That's okay. They have a stockpile already. They're good to go. The Nipawin Hawks with the 69th overall selection, nice, is Ben Wagner out of Belgoni.
And not the baseball broadcaster, Ben
Not
Wagner.
the baseball broadcaster, Ben Wagner. No, I don't think so. Maybe he is in his spare time.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's something to be said for a goalie that's faced a lot of rubber. It was a really tough year for the Yorkton Maulers this past year. Like, we gotta call a spade, but you look at the year before that, and Wagner was awesome for the Prairie Storm. So you kind of take that, and again, it's another goalie you can put in your system, and hopefully, again, hard to blame him per se for the way things didn't work super great in Yorkton last year. His numbers were not great, but again, pretty projectable size, and had AAA experience as a 15-year-old goalie, and again, has played on winning teams before, so they expect that to come back in Yorkton.
There we go. Okay, 70th, 3 selections left. The 70th overall pick to the Battleford's North Stars. This is a great story here. Ryder Fiddler out of Waterhen First Nation. That's awesome. Good to see.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously connection to Courage Bear and the Indigenous Sports Academy there, and ND as well. Point per game kid on the U17 preps at ISA. Can continue to grow as well, and just works extremely hard. But so cool to and so proud anytime a First Nations young man or Indigenous young man is part of our league. We want as many as we can, and Ryder's another one that I'm happy to see be part of our league.
Great pick there. Okay, the Yorkton Terriers up for the 71st overall selection have picked Emmett Kine out of Prince Albert. Emmett Kine. Kine? I'm gonna go with Kine.
So many PA kids in this draft, I guess. And I mean, that's part of it is not auto-protected, but, big year with the PA Renegades U16 AA last year, 37 assists. 62 points in 33 games. Played 8 games for Dion Anderson and the PA Mintos, and a kid that was pretty well thought of out of the Pirates, PA minor hockey system. But again, it's a size thing and it's a speed thing, but he'll continue to grow, we'd think. And it's a really, really nice late pick for Yorkton because, again, the capability to put up big offensive numbers is there. They just need to show it at a higher level now.
Okay, Nugsy, which means we're on to the final pick of the draft here today, the 72nd overall selection in the 2010 portion of the 2026 draft goes to the Nipawin Hawks after it was acquired from Flin Flon, and they select Felix Morin out of Saskatoon. Felix Morin.
Yeah. 6'2", right shot D-man. What more not to like about that? 11 points, 29 games. The offense will continue to come, but again, projectable size.
Yep.
Right shot D, you stash it, a guy from not too far away, and you don't mind that as a sort of a shot for the very last pick in the draft.
Shot in the dark. There you go. Well, that concludes the 2010 portion. That concludes the 2026 draft as a whole. We can recap those as well if we want to throw up. I believe, where were we? We were on the 3rd round, I think, last time we threw a graphic up. So if we can throw up the 3rd round recap really quickly. Liam Harris starts it off. We saw Cruz Abig, of course, assuming family member of Cameron Abig out of Saskatoon. And then, as you can see, we'll move on to the 4th round of the 2010 portion. Rhett Franklin led it off. Ben Meyer was a guy that Nugsy mentioned he had some ties to, just in terms of the name. Cash Elk, of course, maybe a bit of a swing there from Humboldt. Walker Bergen, of course, related to Carter Bergen, who's on the Warman Wolverines. Paul Abermetz, son of John Abermetz, the owner of the Warman Wolverines. A lot of storylines in this 4th round. Duke Lesnar out of Merrifield to the Yorkton Terriers. You'll love to see it. Riker Doka, of course, highly touted WHL prospect. In the 5th round, we have Robbie Harrison leading things off at the top of that one. Drayson Silbernagel, as Cannon Jr. out of Regina. Lincoln Evans down there for Warman out of Saskatoon. A lot of good names there. And then the 6th round to wrap things up. It started with a pass, but it ended with Felix Morin to the Nipawin Hawks there. So there we are. We have completed the 2026 SJHL Draft. And to wrap things up, let's hear from, of course, our draft sponsor, UPL's Tony Dalglish, who has a special message for today's draftees.
UPL is a proud partner of the SJHL, and I'm happy to say that now concludes the 2026 SJHL Draft. Congratulations to everyone who heard their name today, but also know that if you did not, that is not the end of the road. As a proud partner of the SJHL, UPL welcomes all the new draft picks and their families into the league following this year's draft. We have roots in all of the communities across the league and know how passionate each one is about their teams and how you'll not only be welcomed into those communities, but become a big part of them as well. As many of our clients know in our industry, the hard work never stops, and that applies to all of our picks as well. Congratulations to all of you who have heard your names, and welcome to the SJHL.
This concludes our SJHL Draft for 2026. Congratulations to all the 2010 and 2011 prospects that were chosen. And for those of you that were not chosen, keep on grinding, keep on working. Our opening games start on September the 18th, and we look forward to another exciting season of SJHL hockey.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Commissioner Kyle. Thank you to UPL, of course, our sponsor for today's draft. Everyone in the back at the IKS Media crew, appreciate all of you. There they are, Bryce, Connor. Steven's around the corner there somewhere. Thank you, boys. All the coaches, all the scouts across the league for putting in all your hard work. Congrats to all the players who were drafted today. A reminder, as Commissioner Kyle said, as Tony said, if you didn't get drafted today, the door is not closed. The SJHL, Nugsy, we say it every single year, is a league of opportunity. There is always something. There's always a spot waiting, as long as you work hard. Thank you to the Flin Flon Bombers for checking in.
Keith Jagger.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you. So again, if you didn't hear your name today, the door is not closed. The road is not over for you. You still have a chance, and keep working hard, and hopefully we'll be able to call your name in one of our shows throughout the season. Jamie Neugebauer, as always, this is a long journey for you. I know you put in a lot of work, calling people, talking to scouts, talking to assistant GMs, coaches. trying to get information out of these people just to give you a little bit of some help. And I know you put a lot of work in talking to minor coaches and AAA coaches and all the people around the hockey world. So not only am I saying thanks for doing that, I really appreciate, and I think all of the parents also appreciate all of the work that you put in personally, sir. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Clark. It's a real team effort. Everybody back here just talking about all the resources that we have as a league in order to try to bring you the best content that any junior league, including the Western League, including the CHL, including the USHL, can give out to you. We truly believe that's the case. It's a real team effort. Thanks to Paul Drouin, who's obviously the boss here around IKS Media, and Commissioner Kyle, Nick Shumlansky, the Director of Marketing, for investing in us to do what we do. And of course, everybody behind the scenes, you guys are the best.
Kelly Lewick in the war room, Connor Tate in the war room, Curtis and Helen Stepp in the war room, helping us out today, making this all run as smoothly as it did. So we appreciate everyone out there. Commissioner Kyle, like you said, Nick Shumlansky, as you said. Thanks, guys. And it's been a great season here in 2026. I guess this is the conclusion of that season. We're now moving on to the summer season. The fall season is just around the corner, though. The Flin Flon Bombers are going to be defending their championship in the 2026-2027 season. So we look forward to that. We'll have all of our season previews coming for you in September, late August, September. The season starts, as Commissioner Kyle said just a minute ago, on September 18th. So we'll start up a new season then, and it's going to be a great, great time. We'll see you in the rinks, but enjoy the summer along the way, folks. We'll see you next time, and bye for now. From everyone here at IKS Media, I'm Clark Munroe, and we'll see you next season.
$364 more days till next year's hockey tryouts. I gotta toughen up.